me ask you this: how does a company culture change after your liquid token draws down 95%?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal question. Um, I had made the culture publicly and internally so much about winning, right? You know this about me. I'm a competitive spirit. I treat this like Pudgy Penguins is a sports team, and our job is to win the championship year over year. So far, I think we're on a pretty good hot streak. And when you look at culture companies in crypto, I think we have been winning the championship for the last couple of years. And I definitely plan on going on a Michael Jordan, Chicago Bull-esque run here, and going 6 for 6 at a minimum. I think we're probably 2 championships deep so far, so I think we got another 4 years of just absolute heaters at a minimum, right? But there's a huge drawback to that, right? So when things are going well or decent or half decent, you can stay laser focused. I'm not going to pretend to you. I had to have a stand up with the whole executive org, and I basically talked to them and I apologized, and I had said, I had conditioned this company to be to that our success was dictated by price. And when we were down 90%, it felt really bad. And a lot of the people in the company felt really bad and they felt like failures. They felt like they had failed. Uh, and I really just locked in and I told them, like, look, ultimately what's going on here, we can't control. And really with meme coins specifically, I think got hit a little worse because like let's try to like remember what happened, post Pengu launch. Post Pengu launched on December 16th.
Oh,
50+% airdrop to the people, right? Biggest percentage airdrop ever of all time. One of the biggest, in terms of eligible wallets of all time. Eighth biggest in value all time airdrop to people. And if that strategy didn't work, it would have been down only. But what kind of happened is for 4 weeks, it was kind of going up and to the right and doing its thing. And people were stoked. And it really seemed like if the market was going to continue, we were going to go straight for the number 2 spot in terms of how meme coins are concerned. Now we got a couple death blows, right? You had Trump, which hurt, but Melania was brutal. And then you had Libra. And memes got the worst of that. Pudgy was interesting in the sense that it was also some of the freest on-chain liquidity at the time. So it was the quickest thing to rotate because we had given so much money so that when these Trump, Melania-esque opportunities came, they weren't listed in the first hour, the first couple of hours. What did you do? You went to your on-chain wallet and rotated everything out, right? Into one of those big things. And so we got the worst of it, I think, in that respect. And then tariff nonsense happened, right? SPY's down 25%, one of the great SPY dips of my lifetime. And I'm just sitting here and I'm getting Robinhood listings, Coinbase, I'm partnering with Line Friends. You know me. You know me well enough that you know that when the thing is going down only like that, I'm with the guys turning up a whole different level of trying to yield a whole different level of savage because I'm like, I'm not going to accept that reality, right? I'm not saying I don't care even if the macro is the macro. I'm just not going to accept it. And what I learned is you can control a lot of things, but the macro you can't control. And the macro is a tidal wave that is so grand that there's really nothing in your power when that tide is against you. There's nothing you can do, right? Especially with something of that magnitude. If you have a $10 million shitter, like probably, right? Like it's really easy to kind of sustain that. When you have something that's billions of dollars and everybody's rotating out of risk, you really are just a student, a bystander, to what's going down because there's really nothing functionally you can do. And so I think what I did when I spoke to the guys and the gals, I basically told them like, look, one, I apologize for conditioning us around this mindset, and two, we're not losing. We're doing an amazing job. All of the metrics are up and to the right, right? So I sort of like just deep dive the whole business. Revenue is up, growth on social is up. Every partnerships are up. We're signing deals and closing deals that I couldn't even imagine we were signing 6 months prior. And everything fundamentally about the Pudgy Penguin was up and to the right, except for the price, which we couldn't control functionally. Um, and this is kind of where I got hit with a couple pieces of content that really helped me, and I think helped the executive team, which was the Jeff Bezos interview. I don't know if you saw this. There's actually two interviews. There's the
Okay.
Bill Ackman interview and the Jeff Bezos interview, and they're both around the same time during the dot-com bubble.
Okay.
And Jeff's was really in line with what we were doing. And I played this literally in an exec call with all the executives, and I had us all watch the 4-minute meeting or the 4-minute clip from the interview. And Bezos was basically like, the stock went down 97%, but we were selling more books, we had more traffic, right? And then the rest is history, right? Bezos and Amazon becomes one of the greatest companies ever. And I told them, I said, look, this is exactly what's happening right now. We somehow, some way timed the pico top of this launch, right? Which I thought I was a genius from a timing perspective. We got hit with really the meme category's true black swan, right? Which is like complete mass extraction black hole event. And then you got paired with that with complete tariff nonsense. And we are going through a time, but this time is only a blip in time. And we will win and we will come back from this. And Vedant and I strategized. We started to think of like, how do you look at the token like a product? We dug deep and we quite literally fought our way out of that hole. And now I actually think the story is that moment was so important for a couple of reasons. What it did internally for me, right? You know me, I address the elephant in the room, which is price, whether it's the NFTs or the token. That was a really humbling experience because my head was also getting pretty inflated. I'm not going to lie. There's some clips of me in January. Pretty crazy clips with OG. I know you saw them. And I got humbled. It was my first humbling in crypto. And so I got humbled. I think that's important. And two, red candles make community, green candles do not, right? And the Pengu, the whole plan with Pengu was like, how do you orchestrate this and create it so that over time it has the ingredients to flip Doge, like actually do that. That's why the airdrop was so big, because Pudgy had to be a coin. Pengu had to be a coin for the people, by the people. It had to be what it embodied. The penguin embodies generosity and love and giving, right? Like that's what the Pengu embodies. And we did that part right, but to think, I don't know why I was so naive in thinking that was just going to go up and to the right forever, right? Which was kind of my assumption, or at least I thought we had 6 months of that. But the story of the 90% drawdown really tested everyone who got that free money, right? Who then became a community member and tested all of the people that were buying it at any level that they were buying it at. And it really, Pudgy's story, the beauty of the success of Pudgy, yeah, the team and I had a huge part in it, but don't underestimate the pain that those holders went through before I took it over, right? Anything was a net positive. And you also had opportunity where it's like right out the gates at 3 billion, right? It also gave a lot of opportunity for the right people to double and triple down and start, having, big size in this belief. And so no matter how many ways you skin it too, all of these meme tokens and most great tokens in crypto have to have insane drawdowns, I think, to see new highs. And so looking back at it today, it was the biggest blessing. It was so important. And if we didn't have that stretch, I don't think we actually could be in a position where we can go after the big Doge. And I just don't think that. But today, man, that drawdown, that little window, that really brought the community together in a way that nothing I could have done, no partnership, no headline, no deal that we could have orchestrated would have brought them together like we were brought together in that period. And Pudgy's done this multiple times, right? Whenever we go down, 90%, 80%, 70%, we always meet new highs and we come back stronger and better. And that's just what it means to be a penguin and to huddle. But it's a little bit of an elongated monologue, but an important one because I thought it was a phenomenal question.
You're unreal, dude. That was insane. What was the Bill Ackman clip? You didn't say the Bill Ackman interview.
So Bill Ackman's the same thing. Bill Ackman went down 99%. And so the same story, all during the dot-com bubble, all these guys blew up, and Bill Ackman was going broke. He had his whole thing hedged into this stock. And he just said, dude, it's just day by day. You got to fight day over day. And so Bezos gave me that North Star because the fundamentals going up and to the right was so, I was so confused why we were down so bad, because I was like, dude, everything has never been better, right?
Yeah.
But it also leaned in and allowed us to fix a lot of problems. The dissemination of information was broken. You know, we had a way to communicate with a 10,000 NFT holders, communicating with millions of token holders, a completely different ball game. So we fixed a lot of problems that I think were necessary, and I think that adversity made us go into the corner and duck and swerve and buck and pivot, and I think kind of gave us the opportunity to really put this thing in a position to succeed. But yeah, Bezos was the most meaningful because of that metric. That's how I really felt.
Yeah.
And then I just realized, like, dude, greatness is not going to come easy, right? And if this story is going to be told the way that I want it to be told, the way that I prophesized it and imagined it, right, it's going to come with some adversity. And boy, oh boy, was that some adversity. And I'm happy to say we made it on the other side of it. But we have a long ways to go because, you know, for me, yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what. It doesn't matter who you are and what fucking exchange listing you get. If Bitcoin's down 10%, so are you. And I like, you know, the price as a lagging indicator is a fun concept because I feel the same way about views. It's like, okay, I've sat here before and been like, man, I just did the best stream of my entire life. I just had some genius on that dropped some fucking gems. And he talked about, you know, Zora came on here at 15 mil. That shit's up 20x. And I'm getting shit on because Alon's token is down after the stream. And the views are low. And I'm like, man, the content is fire. And I'm getting clowned for having X amount of viewers. It's the same concept as the price being down, but the business revenue being up. It doesn't exactly reflect one-to-one. Like the narrative lags on the metric lagging.
Yeah, I love that you said this, Thread, because I realized this with the NFTs after Walmart, right? We were down 5% on the day of Walmart on the NFTs. We hit all-time highs 3 months later, right? Price is a lagging indicator, right? A lot of things are not factored into price, and you just need the market to do what the market does. But you're completely correct. I don't think unless you're like the traditional markets where they're so sophisticated in how they analyze and there's so many billions at stake, so everyone tries to not make it a lagging indicator. I think in anything that's the NASDAQ, right? If it's not traded on the NASDAQ, I think that statement reigns true. Price is definitely a lagging indicator.
Yeah, you know what it takes is a couple guys in crypto to be like, fuck, he was talking game on the threadguy stream. I'm gonna twop $5 million in the chart, and all of a sudden the fucking narrative is a different game. Go ahead.
No. I was agreeing. I was
cool. Let me ask you this. Like, honestly, I didn't even want to bring you on to come here and like clip farm info and announcements and shit. I just wanted to talk to you. Why do you think crypto IP is seemingly like, I feel like people are seeing the value in crypto IP again. Pudgy Penguins are leading it, and it's sort of being put into this new category once again. We did this before. I think we did this in 21 with NFTs. We sort of did it in 23 with meme coins a little bit with Pepe, ticker Bitcoin, and we're doing it again, but it feels like it's stronger this time. Like, why do you think crypto native IP continues to separate itself from the pack a little bit?
Because IP speaks to the hearts and minds of people in a way that charts do not, right? And you have to understand that tokens and all of these assets succeeding, it's simply just a supply and demand game. Like anything else is just like over convoluting it. It all comes down to two functions: how much supply is on the market and how much demand for the token or the asset at that price. And I think from my perspective, you know, the emotion. One, I think IPs are good trades because the emotional resonance and the ability to capture attention, they're actually perfect vehicles for the supply and demand equation. Meaning, it's really easy with IP, or not really easy, but it's a lot easier than with some protocol to go and create some emotional attachment and something that people are proud to hold with an IP versus a protocol that doesn't have much traction, which is basically all the protocols with the exception of 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you look at, what does it mean to actually build IP in crypto, you have this people really galvanize around it because I think one, it hits them in a place that I think most of the current things that they trade do not. Two, I also think they're the most well positioned to go and speak to the supply and demand curve. And so my example to you is simple. Let me just use an example, a theoretical one, but let's say Pudgy Penguins is a movie, right? And that movie's in AMC theaters all across the country. You're watching it with your family. What's going to happen when that happens, right? Well, really two things. The first one is the demand will be insane. It'll be every headline across every news desk, across every KOL and every influencer, and everyone for a couple of weeks is going to talk about Pudgy Penguins at AMC movie theaters, and the attention and the mind share is going to be bar none. On the flip side of it, it also speaks to existing holders who now are proud and honored to be a part of this community and ecosystem, who now have a minimum price in which they're willing to sell, which is not today's price, right? And so supply gets crunched. And then you have these really explosive moments of excitement. And so I actually think you're going to see a lot more people rotate into this idea of IP and IP tokens and IP ecosystems because functionally they actually perform, if done right, do what almost every trader wants, which is crunch the supply and demand curve and create, an opportunity for them to make money. And you see this with Pudgy, right? And there's never a month that goes by that we don't do something that either creates more conviction with existing holders or creates more demand, for prospective buyers. And so I think IP always works, and IP can just be marketed differently. Like you remember the Bored Ape run on the Rolling Stone and what Pudgy Penguins has already done and what we're going to do. It's a lot more nimble and digestible. And I think retail really understands it in a way that I think it's really hard to grasp TPS and the next great blockchain. I feel like even people in crypto don't even know what blockchain really is, which to me is like decentralized payment rails with global liquidity and global composability. I mean, everyone tells themselves like 100 different stories. I'm like, they're just Stripe payment rails that you can build on top of that anyone with an internet can use to transact, right? But it's digestible. Like your mom gets a cute penguin, your girlfriend gets a cute penguin, you get a cute penguin, your peers and your colleagues, and when you get hit with all these different things. And so I think IP has such an important role in the industry that I think you're only going to see grow and grow over time. And it's going to be one of those things that I think last cycle you saw it with the Bored Ape and the NFT run. I think this cycle is going to be Pudgy Penguins driven by Pengu and obviously the Pudgy Penguin NFTs. I think it's a natural medium and fills a void that crypto also too is the place a majority of people here are contrarians, right? Contrarians tend to have more of a gap in the soul and in the heart because they're always going against the grain, right? So when you have some sort of IP and some sort of emotional connection with something, a lot of people in crypto, I think, gravitate towards it in a way that I think a lot of other things within the space don't have the same attractiveness, if that makes sense.
I think it's a great. I love the take. I resonate with the TPS blockchain thing too. Like people just get IP. They don't get they don't know how the internet works or how Gmail works. Yeah, I was thinking about you the other day. For two reasons. One, because your IG got hacked. I was calling you, but it was like five. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling Vadon and shit.
Appreciate you messaging, by the way.
It didn't go
It's
very high.
kind.
It fucking went to like 30K. I mean, it was didn't. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I didn't. Yeah. But the second reason is I saw this graphic. I don't know how correct this graphic is, and it was. I don't know where it came from. I think I saw it on Instagram. Maybe it was a Twitter Pudgy Penguin thing. But it was all-time revenue from the massive IP companies, and it was like Pokemon, 100 bill roughly, Disney, 50 bill, down the line. And I swear to God, I'm looking at this graphic, and I look up, Pengu on Deck Screener. I'm doing some math in my head, and I'm like, Pokemon is like the biggest IP ever, and I've spent thousands and thousands of hours and dollars on Pokemon. It was my childhood. And I'm looking at the Pengu chart and I'm like, this number doesn't seem that ridiculous. Like, it wasn't 50 trillion, right? It wasn't 10x Bitcoin market cap. I'm like looking at these revenue numbers from the biggest IPs ever. And I'm thinking to myself, one, they don't seem that ridiculous. And two, I've always thought this about the viewers of the threadguy stream. The average holder of a Pudgy Penguin or fuck it, a Pengu token compared to the average spender of a Pokemon pack, arbitrage for net worth is so ridiculously skewed towards the crypto native one that I don't feel like that like net worth per holder gets spoken about enough. I think about it with my stream, I'm like, okay, there's 300 people watching, but how many Kai Cenat viewers from a net worth perspective is the random person in this stream if I had to like close my eyes and pick one out? It's probably it's a lot. It's not 1-to-1, I'll tell you that. And I saw this revenue graphic and I just was thinking about you and I was like, wow, like what if? It didn't seem that crazy. And it was crazy to me that it didn't seem that crazy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's hundreds of IPs that do hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue. It's so abundant. And, if Pudgy does what, $300 million in revenue in a year, what are we at, top 10 protocol in revenue generated, right? Or 20? I don't know the exact number, but there's not 20 people in crypto making more than $300 million a year. I can just tell you that off the top of my napkin math. I'd probably say there's only 10, if that. So I think you hit the nail right on the head. And I said this, and I told the community this. I said this at 4 billion. I said it at 400 million. As long as it's below SHIB, it's free, right? After SHIB, but as long as Shiba Inu is trading at $8 billion, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if it's a Dino incumbent. I'm going to have more listings than it. I'm getting more impressions than it. My cultural relevancy is far from peaked, right? We're just getting this thing started, and as long as that's the case, like, Doge is going to be a beast. Doge is inflationary, and again, I think its cultural relevancy and financial relevancy has peaked, and that's beyond us. So I think that will happen. But as long as it's below SHIB, I refuse to believe that Shiba Inu is more valuable to crypto, is more beloved to crypto, is more highly impressioned in crypto, has a higher path and vision for success than Pudgy Penguin's Pengu. I mean, it's impossible to convince me that. I mean,
Yeah.
you just couldn't physically.
I also was thinking about you because I think Min tweeted that crypto needs a sex symbol, and but okay, I have a serious question for you. It's not really Pudgy Penguin related. I think people only ask you about Pudgy Penguins. Also, I told you like 30 minutes in the slot. Can I keep you for like 10 more?
Yeah, go.
Okay, cool. You are like, okay, no setup, no glaze. Why is Labubu so successful and there's so much mania behind it? Like, I'm sure you've spent some amount of time studying the IP, the rollouts, the drops. Like, why is this going so crazy?
Asia and product quality. That's really my two assessments. And so I think we will do a Labubu style strategy, sooner rather than later, because I'm very confident and believe in our ability to kind of market like that. Pop Mart is the best toy collectible manufacturer of all time to ever exist. Their quality per price point across all of their products is bar none amazing. For those who are not familiar, Pop Mart makes Labubu. And so from my perspective, the product integrity and the mechanism around the product, the gotcha, and just how fun it is. It's a phenomenal product. But more importantly, Asia. Asia is the great behemoth. It is where collectibles and IP and cute, and to be frank, Asia also hasn't been burned, I think, the same way the West has been over the last 5 years. I think culture, and this is a very contrarian brand take. My contrarian brand take is culture used to be incubated out of the West for a long time. Fairfax, Melrose, New York City, right? I think you're going to see that I think you're going to see that paradigm shift, and you're already seeing it shift to Tokyo and Korea and China. And I would not underestimate, as a custodian of culture, anybody interested in culture. I mean, it's already here. right? It's already evident in Labubu and Pokemon, and it's been that way for a while. But I think it's going to even supersede what is currently going on in a big, big way. The next 10 years of culture is going to come out of the East. And as somebody who studies this all day, I would really encourage people to study that because
Whoa.
the Eastern momentum is different, man.
Oh, that's a sick take. Man, I'll tell you what. All anyone in LA wants to talk about is, damn, I wish you got to see this place in 2017. Dude, I wish you were here in 2016. I'm like, bro, I was 14 in middle school in Virginia. That's all anyone in LA. I think it's a ghost town, bro. The Melrose sneaker days, that shit is cooked. I missed it. And all anyone wants, bro, you should have seen Keys in 2015, bro. You should have seen Delilah in 2017. That's all. It's crazy. How much of that culture originating in the East instead of the West? How much of that is just culture originating natively on the internet now? Like that has to be a pretty big bet as well. That you can. I don't even know how contrarian it is, but I don't think it's been realized yet. Like you can slam that, and you probably slam that from crypto, right?
You're probably like going down a really interesting rabbit hole, which is like, is the West just so fried and so desensitized? Because I'll tell you the archetype in the East is they're so passionate and they get on something and they grab onto it. And in the West, it feels like we see something and we just swipe, right? And remind you, right? China kind of and the East gatekeeps a lot of the brain rot, right? From that culture. And so there might even be like a really conspiracy like rabbit hole you were to go down here, which is like, is the West losing its motion because we're so fried, right? And we've been on this like super frying pan for the last 7, 8 years. And so, we're both Asia and America are getting the same content and the same, but they have a little more, less brain rot in their brain and they have a little more passion and love and suave. That might be it. And this is just me thinking and speaking out loud, presenting a question, right? Like that's an interesting thought thread. I never thought about that. But you're right, like the internet is borderless, and so everyone has access to these trends and to these moments. But if you go to have you been to Asia, Thread? You've been to Asia
I've been to
before?
Japan, and which is all. I went to Tokyo, unfucking real, man.
The culture is just
It's a
different there,
movie.
man. Asia, Malaysia, Korea, Hong Kong, China. I mean, they just, dude, the eight like they j- they're just on a different wavelength, man. If I'm gonna be honest, like a whole different love and appreciation for things, the finer things. It feels like they still are holding on to the finer things in life versus like America, we're so desensitized. And I'm speaking about this as like a true American patriot. Like
Yeah,
you won't find many patriots more than me,
yeah.
but something in the soul of the land and the people in the land is dwindling a little bit, and it's sad to see.
It's a crazy. Also, these trends are so violent. Like, when was the first time you've heard about Dubai chocolate, and then how many times have you heard about it in the last month? It's like, what the fuck just happened, man? It's crazy. Yeah, maybe it is. The West is losing the motion on the cultural side, 100,000%. Like, I'm looking at what Japanese people are rocking for clothes. I'm buying overseas clothes, trends, the baggy. Like, that's not an LA thing, bro. They've been on that.
Apple's one of the hardest brands, and what is that? It's out of Tokyo right
I
now.
think so, yeah.
Like all the swag is over there. I mean, Tokyo swag is
Damn.
different.
What a sick take. Maybe we could riff on it longer. I'll give you a sign off and I'll let you go. Um, I mean, maybe I could give you a double sign off, but I want to ask you a personal one, and we could do this offline. But the stream's up and running. I've had a pretty sick 2 months, maybe a local top with the Alon stream, and then obviously we're gonna surpass it. What is your take on where crypto media is going, and what and where and how I should scale this stream? Counterparty, the company behind it.
So crypto media, so much potential. You know this. Somebody's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars here. Bullish just IPO'd one of their big pieces of CoinDesk, $10 billion right out the opening print out the gate. Kudos and respect to them.
Crazy.
Like my only problem with crypto media is like I just wish, there's this PvP kind of a little grotesque, like, angry culture that I think some crypto folks have. Like I empathize and I feel so bad when I see some of these users just coming at the creator's neck, and it's like, dude, just let these guys thrive. It's helping all of your bags. Please don't shoot yourself in the foot. So my only suggestion for crypto media is, one, step up the production value, put some high effort into it. Love what you're doing there. And my call to action is really to the user base, man. Cut these guys a little bit of slack. If you guys want to talk shit, go on Reddit, go somewhere else. But like, let these guys thrive and let them blossom. Let the flowers blossom, dude, because it's so important. The biggest businesses in the world were built off the backs of creators. Creators are the custodians of eyeballs and attention. And there's a certain point, mental health and money, you'd be surprised, but the mental health will make you fold before you even start thinking about money. And so my thing is like, dude, we're killing these things before some of these guys can even get a chance. And some of the things that people say online, man, is just like, I really empathize for some of these guys. And my call to action would be to the users, just cut them a little slack. If you want to be a drama queen or a gossip queen and you want to talk shit and be an internet warrior, go somewhere else, write it down in a journal, ignore it, put in the drafts. The draft's such a cheat code. You got something negative to say, type it, draft it. Let these kids thrive for the sake of all of our bags, right? Because we need more people like Thread, and I just see some of the guys and gals just quote retweeting and coming at some of these creators' head. I mean, Thread, you're kind of, people love you, but some of the other guys that are trying to be the next Thread guy, they're just getting hosed and beat down and battered, and I'm like, man, they're never gonna go, and I get it, right? Like we're an interesting archetype, crypto folks. I've been here since 2017. But just put it in the drafts, man, and let these kids thrive. It's for the sake of all of our bags, your friends' bags, your bags, the next person's bags. Like, let's make this a little bit more of a welcoming space. My advice to you, I mean, dude, I think you're crushing it. I really do. I think the branding, I see the clips. You got the Clippers running, great work. Clips are all over my feed every day. I drop a favorite or a comment every time I can. The branding is good. The whole setup. I mean, if I were to give you advice is just keep swinging big. You were you brought this up, but the virality is very nuclear now, right? And so my ask to you, for you to kind of break that local top and hit new highs, just be quick on a swivel. Something's hot right now in the space. Somebody's top of mind. There's a big thing, a big moment. Just jump on that. And also, I'll give you a piece of advice that somebody gave me that I thought was really meaningful advice, Thread, which was, if you have a relationship with somebody and you're afraid to ask them for something, or they're not helping you progress in your life, I would argue it's not a relationship, right? And so my ask to you is, for example, you haven't reached, I posted some pretty cool shit with some pretty cool crypto billionaires. You got Tom Lee wearing the Pengu. You got to message me and be like, how can I get Tom Lee on? My ask to you is, don't be afraid to ask people within your network, people like myself, right? If you see an opportunity, somebody who's hot, Tom Lee's the hottest thing in the space. I'm wondering to myself, why hasn't threadguy hit me up to try to talk to Tom Lee? Now, right? I can, at best I can try, right? And worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. Best case scenario, you get Tom Lee, the hottest figure in crypto, on your podcast. And I have that in because he's wearing the Penguin PFP. So that would be my only advice to you, bro, is don't be afraid to ask for help and lean into your network, lean into the people, be on top of these trends, and really capture the moments that are hot, right? Tom Lee's crypto's main character. You need him on, right? And you did that with Alan, right? Pump was the talk of the town. You got him on. That was your best one. It was the best one for a reason. You struck where the iron's hot. So keep striking when the iron's hot. That's really your business, right? Like being nimble, and if you can't reach them, and if they're not responding to your DM or comment, you got to hit me up. You got to hit up Banks. Got to hit up somebody else. Get me in contact with him, bro, please. And ultimately, that's what friends are for. And if I can't go do that for you, then I'm not a true friend, and I'm not somebody worth keeping a relationship for. And that goes for not only myself, but for everybody else in your network that you consider a friend.
Wow. That was, I'm gonna text you after the stream now, but that was so awesome. Thanks for saying that, man. That was awesome. Yep. Also, to give you flowers, I'll let you go, and I know you're late, is the one thing that you don't get enough credit for. You get glazed a lot. You get the founder glaze, but you go on I don't think this gets recognized. You go on every single fucking podcast. anyone that rocks a Pudgy Penguin PFP that has 0 to 330,000 followers, you will go on it, and you don't just go on it and fucking sleepwalk. You bring in. This is the funniest thing about you, by the way. You're like, you don't have to respond to this. You like Stable Ronaldo says, "I am the clip." You bring some new shit every time. You bring them. I notice you do it. You give them a nugget so they can clip it and get 100,000 views. If you don't have a clip, you fucking make one up, and that's how you get caught saying some bullshit about price. But you make one up. You give everyone a clip every single day, and man, we root for you, Luca Netz. Crypto roots for you really hard, just like I feel like they root for me. They root for you really hard. So thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure, and I'm excited to talk to you offline.